question right, and I think it's all about sustainability, and I think how often must we do public awareness? Public awareness is a continuum. You don't stop. You have to really continue to create awareness for people. It's a sustained approach. You don't stop it, and we have to continue public awareness. So it's not one-off thing. It's a sustained approach.
So now, since the report from NIMET came, and of course that gives an idea as to what we are to experience, what steps and efforts have you been taken to mitigate, to reduce whatever rains or floods that we are going to be experiencing?
Well, the first step is to create that awareness for people, which we have done, and to disseminate this information to the people that have to take action. And with the steps, the action is the two-way action on the government side and on the people's side. On the government side, we continue to make sure that we open up our primary channels, which is the main collector. The primary channels are the main canals, that are the back end. Many people can't see canals, except people that live close to canals. These are the river and that collect water from the secondary channels. The canals is what we refer to as our primary collectors. Then the gutter from the major road, big gutter from major road, 2 meters by 2 meters size of channels. They are the secondary ones. They are the ones that collect water from the street, from the flow of water from the street. So all we do on our side are responsible to make sure the primary channel where the water will go to, open them up and sustain them. And we've been doing that now all year round. That's what we do. We don't stop. It's not when the rains come that we start doing that. So we've been doing that. On our own side, we are prepared for this season because all our primary channels are ready to receive storm water. And the secondary channel, which are by the major roadside, we continue to do the cleanup of those ones also. Is our responsibility in the Ministry of Environment. But the tertiary, which is the gutter from the street, is the responsibility of the communities and the local government, all right, to make sure that they allow the tertiary drains, the gutter in front of people's houses, to be clean enough to allow flow of water into secondary channel that will take it to primary channel. Drainage is a network, it's a flow. You can't stop a flow. You can't stop it. If you stop it, then you are looking for trouble. So, and that flow will be integrated flow. And that is why the maintenance of all those channels is very, very important. And that's exactly what we do. And we tell our people what they need to do. And for our people downstream, where we have the coastal flooding, like I said earlier, we are opening up more tributaries for OGUN River to make sure that we create a nice relief for those people until when the major project that will give a permanent relief comes up. So we are not going to leave them to their fate. So we're not relenting. We're on top of the whole program, and we are running along with timelines.
And are we going to be seeing some of your officers from time to time, go to communities to really see whether people are really evacuating their gutters? I mean, in front of their houses, in the communities. I mean, because it's one thing to give advice, is another thing for this advice to be followed. And just as you said, people learn in different ways. So are we going to be seeing you deploying, some of your officials, especially probably on environmental sanitation days? We know that environmental sanitation days, this period,
should be very important.
Should be very important. Even though we don't have the mandatory stay at home during the environmental sanitation exercise, people are free to walk around now, but of course we still have the environmental sanitation. So are we going to be seeing your officials, being deployed, checking around and then calling people's attention to it? Oh yeah, you have not done this. go and do it now and want to see it done?
Yes, we have various level of monitoring for our canals, and we on our side in the ministry, we have areas where they are what we call the flood-prone zones. Okay, the red zones when it comes to flooding, we have them, especially the collector basins. All right, where they are mainly what we call the engineers call them inverts. They are invert zones, and they are the areas where all flows will aggregate before they now trunk into the main canal. So those just like junctions, all right, where all flows must aggregate, and then they now flow off. So on the side of the ministry, those red zones, we already know them because they are natural geographical locations. So we monitor those red zones because no matter what you do upstream, if anything should go wrong with those collector zones, there's a mess. I mean, no matter what we have done downstream or upstream, those collector zones are the hub of a drainage flow. So we monitor those collector zones as a duty on our side regularly, and we send our people, they are scheduled to look at those collector zones. Now, then for the primary trunks also, those ones we monitor siltation, because there's a natural siltation that comes, because most of those rivers that we dredge, they are not lined, so they are still earth rivers, so there's natural vegetation that will come during dry season. When the water probably will dry up, most basins will start having vegetation, and those vegetation, they impede flow during the rainy season. So we monitor those areas and see where we deploy our equipment quickly to go back to those areas. But when it comes to the tertiary drain, which is upstream, that is where we allow the local government and the CDAs to call our attention to people who are not doing the right thing. For example, communities are supposed to call us when you see anybody blocking their drain. If you don't call us, we can't go to every nooks and crannies in the state. It's not possible. We don't have such a facility to be seen every street corner in our state. So there's a collaboration, and we have what we call the flood management team in the state, where the council engineers, they are working with our own engineers, and we are all on the chat platform. The council engineers are the first responders when it comes to upstream channels, that means the tertiary areas. So if they see anybody blocking a drainage channel, either they mark it, they demolish, and they cannot do it, they relate to us. We send our demolition gang there, they demolish such a facility out there. So we work with them, and for the sanitarians and the local government, they can lock up a house that they find that is dumping refuse in drainage channel, right? So that they can lock them up. And when we get such complaint, we send the local government go and do it. But if we find that they cannot do it, we deploy our own men to go and do it. So that people will know that, look, there's government in the state to do what we have to do. So we have that network of monitoring and the response to flood issues in the state.
No, the Commissioner, let's go to the proposed introduction of Black Maria for prosecution of offenders, environmental offenders. What is this all about? Are you trying to send signals to people to desist from what you have seen that is wrong in the society? What is this Black Maria going to do to the consciousness of the people and the society? So let's analyze this and talk about the offenses and what will be the penalties.
Well, the thing is with the use of the Black Maria is to send a signal to some unsuspecting member of the public who probably had a tendency to want to commit the atrocities of dumping refuse on the road, and not just refuse alone, they want to trade on the road, block canals and the rest of it. So by the time some of them see the Black Maria, it tells you that, look, somebody is there, and there was, we only tell them that there's a consequence for this bad behavior in Ogun State. So people just need to know that there's a consequence of bad behavior. Some people, just seeing the vehicle alone, some people will shape up and not commit the offense. Are you getting me? They don't just shape up and say, look, if you do it, the people are there to catch you. So it will reduce the effort that we have to put in place for compliance. It will support us in compliance, and only a few people that are stubborn and recalcitrant that will be thrown inside the black maria and taken to court for prosecution.
How soon should we expect this? Because the people, we are still seeing refuse all over. People need to sit up and know that the environment they live in is where they can breathe and breathe in good air. So how soon should we expect this for people to sit up?
Yes, the black maria, we can have black maria everywhere. So it's only the black spots, especially around markets, street trading. The black maria mainly is not just about refuse alone, it's all about street trading. We want to eradicate the habit of street trading in the state. So they're going to be located around markets, mainly around markets location. For those who are dumping refuse indiscriminately, we're going back to the area of our community policing. We started community policing sometimes, and it worked. So we have to press our reset button. I've told you on our strategy on waste management, we are pressing a reset button to make sure that we do what we're doing right before, and then not we stop the experiments that probably we're doing right now and do the right thing.
Okay. Now, I mean, you have actually said the black maria is not just for people dumping refuse indiscriminately, but also for people indulging in street trading. Probably you should also give us other list of offenses that would make one, I mean, that could criminalize one, make one an offender, you know, so that people can know, and then, if possible, do everything humanly possible to avoid, you know, being prosecuted.
Well, when it comes to environmental infractions, I think basically when it comes to mismanagement of public utilities, it's obvious that when you are going on the road, don't throw paper on the floor, don't dump refuse there, okay? Because if this is your house, you won't do that. So we want our people to know that, look, treat public amenities as your own private property. So that's exactly what we're going to do with that. So the number of offenses, street trading mainly, is one of the critical things, the black maria that we want to curb, and the dirty habits around our market areas. So we want our markets to be clean, to look good, and for people to operate in a decent manner around our market areas. So we have a lot of markets in Ogun State, and our market in Ogun State is part of our tourism area. People come to Ogun State, they're not able to come to market, especially to Itoku, for example. People want to come and buy a bread there. People want to come and buy the recipe for father in Abeokuta. People want to come to Ijebu to come and buy their recipe for Ikokore and the rest of it. They come all the way from Lagos, from anywhere. So our market in Ogun State, they are part of our tourism area. So, and we want those markets to look decent, to look beautiful, and to look welcoming. So making sure that we instill sanity around our market is one of the critical things. So a lot of environmental infractions, we have them published in our green book, and it's there on our website. But then, like I told you, people can learn either voluntarily or by coercion.
Okay. Now let's talk about the climate change, because I believe climate change is the basis of this rain pattern change. And if we want to start mitigating against those factors that we must look at to ensure that everything runs according to to the plans of the ministry or the plans of the government, climate change is something that we should look at. So what is the government doing about how to arrest some of the climate changes that is affecting the environment, affecting people, affecting how we cohabit, and affecting the environment generally? What is the plan of the government ensuring that people who live in this environment are safe? At any point in time, this climate change is bringing in its own show. What should the people expect from the government, and how is the government seeing climate change in ensuring that the environment is safe?
Well, when it comes to climate change, all right, it's a bit diverse. Okay, there are problems caused by individuals, but largely I need to tell you that most of the problem of climate change is caused by big industries, big industries. So we have done our climate vulnerability mapping in Ogun State, climate vulnerability mapping. And when you look at it, the key element that is causing climate change is the emission of carbon into the air. And this carbon is the one in various elements, carbon from various elements, can come in form of methane, can come in form of propane and the rest of it. So this carbon, when they go into the air, they are the ozone depleting substance, and are the one that whatever you are pushing to the air here in Ogun State can cause problems for them in America, can cause problems in Ghana and the rest of it. So it's a global phenomenon when it comes to climate change. And in Ogun State, generally in Ogun State, come from most of our industries, and especially the cement industries. We have the highest number of cement industries in Ogun State. Our industrialization drive has its own associated challenge, and as much as we are having industrial growth in Ogun State, we are equally having this climate change challenge. So if you want to address climate change issue in Ogun State that will affect that will attract global attention, we'll be looking at decarbonizing our cement industries and most of our industries around Ogijo, Agbara, Igbesa, and our flaggate in Shagamu and the rest of it. So these are the areas we are focusing on to make sure that all these our industries around those areas, they reduce what we call the carbon footprint, that reduces what they push into the air. So that is we talk about 80% of our climate action, climate change impact, carbon emission from Ogun State. 80% come from industries. The remaining 20% come from vehicular emission from most of our vehicles that traverses the state. Close to about 1 million vehicle traverses Ogun State on daily basis. They traverse, they move from Lagos across to anywhere in Nigeria, and most of these vehicles they push out carbon in the air for us in Ogun State. So that's why we have our program of carbon emission reduction program, vehicular emission, that we launched about almost a month now, when we launched the carbon emission program in Ogun State, to make sure that people must reduce their carbon emission, or polluter must pay for emission. And when they pay, what do we do with the money? We do what we call the tree planting, either urban afforestation or rural afforestation. Because as much as you emit this gas, God has created a balance with forest, with trees that can absorb that gas. So while we are growing our industries in Ogun State, we are also growing our forest cover. So our forest cover gives us that symbiotic situation that gives us the eco-balancing, the symbiotic relationship between industrial growth and our agrarian economy. So we are growing our forest cover in Ogun State, when you pay for the carbon emission, we use it to plant trees, either in our urban centers or in our rural areas, so that we balance out what you are emitting. But by and large, in the cement industries, we're doing what we call the decarbonization project, where all the waste in Ogun State will be converted into what we call the refuse-derived fuel, RDF. And this RDF is what we're going to use to fire the turbines, so that the cement industry are going to be taking the over 3,000 tons of waste generated in Ogun State on a daily basis and push it into their turbines to produce cement. So that way we will have used one way, we'll find another usage for our waste, and we allow the cement industry to reduce the fossil fuel they are using to produce their cement. So that talk has gone in a very, very advanced stage, and we're going to have a project that will come up very soon. We are doing this in conjunction with the British government, the Manufacture Africa, and McKinsey, which is a global management company working with us, and we have a various investment group, the Nigerian Climate NC3, Nigerian Climate Change Action Group. They are working with us on it. So it's a multi-dimensional work group that is pushing forward towards the decarbonization project for Ogun State cement industry. So we're making very good progress in that regard.
All right,
Dr. ORESANYA, in fact, it appears you were actually reading my mind. I was about asking you, in this era of waste to wealth, what are you doing with the so much waste that we have in the country? How are you converting it to wealth? But of course, I think you have addressed that in your closing remark. But as we custom, I would like you to advise, everyone, as we actually, prepare for the heavy downpour this year. What would be your advice to the farmers, to the residents, to individuals, motorists, road users,
health workers,
health workers, everybody? What's your advice, really?
Well, what I can just advise is that people in Ogun State should please listen to this government. This government has the best of intention for you. Our environment is our shared heritage, and we need to protect it. It's very fragile. We need to protect it so that we support our well-being. Get more information about what your state is doing about the environment, which we want it to be the best, the livable state in Nigeria. Ogun State is aspiring to be that. And get more information on our website and on our social media handles. And also you can call on our telephone line 0901 0048 0056 0901 048 0056. I repeat, 091 048 0056. You can get more information from those numbers and from our social media handle and all our websites also. To be a partner with us in developing our environment. There are a lot of great jobs. There are a lot of opportunities in managing the environment. Be sure we partner with you to grow our environment. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ola ORESANYA, for coming on the program and talking about the environment and the alert of flood that was given by NIMET and advising everyone, all stakeholders really, on what we should do when it comes to rain and the environmental management. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you very much.
All right, Dominic, you have to leave.
Yes, we have to go. That's the size of the program. We thank you so much for watching. I am Dominic Agbea. Enjoy the rest of your day.